where I am today. I don't know if it's the same for you or not, but it's rainy here. It's a little gray here, but I actually love summer storms. So I'm here for it. I'm enjoying it. How are you today as you are coming in? Nancy, so great to see you. You win first on the live. Great to see you, my friend. So I am curious because I know we've been doing these for a while now, and it's so good to see familiar faces and it's so good to see new faces. But before, when we were talking about making quantum leaps, like that was really the focus, right? With you squared, I was checking in a lot on what are your goals? Like, what are you here for? And I'm just curious now because I know many of you have accomplished the goals you came in for at the beginning, or your goals have shifted. Like, what's the one goal that you're going for right now in your life, in your business that has you here? So pop it in the comments. I want to see. I know we've had people here going for first 10K month, going for 7 figures, going for launching new businesses. And I just want to know, because today we're really talking about what is that secret to accomplishing what you desire that most of us don't stop and think about. Like this whole concept. So if you're joining for the first time, we're talking about this book, Feeling is the Secret. And I did not take into account how important feelings were to accomplishing my goals for so many years. So I want to know what your goal is so that we can speak to that directly in the framework of the conversation today. So I want to see who's here on Instagram. We've got Letitia. Good morning. Great to see you again. Desiree, great to see you. You're from Raleigh, right? Awesome to have you join. We've got Gail. Good morning, my friends. So good to see everyone. And hey, if you're joining live on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, as always, please pop a comment. That's the only way I can see you're here. And I want to know you're here. I want to know what your goal is too, because this time is about you. Okay, this time is about you getting what you want. Janine, good morning. Oh my goodness, her holistic health habits. Good morning, Stephen, Mary. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am so thrilled to see each of you here. And if you're joining live as we come in, I was just starting by saying, like, what's your goal? Why are you here today? I want to really be here for you and support you, and not just have this be something you like check off the box first thing in the morning, but let's let this be a time where you come and you actually create what you are looking to create. So, and I'm here to support you in that. Cara, birthday queen on Facebook. Happy birthday. I'm so glad you're here. Good morning. Oh, good morning. Good morning. And I think this is, birthdays are a day when we often think about our goals, right? And what's coming up for the next year. So I feel like I know a lot of your goals, but I would also love if you want to share in the comments what you're going for. Laura on Instagram. Good morning. And everyone, I got to tell you, I was reading through what we're going to be covering today, and I was like, oh, this is so good. Like what we're talking about today is, I think it's always good because I love this kind of stuff, but it's so good. So I'm excited to get into it. So we're just going to get into it. And if you have questions, if you have comments, please pop them in. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Coffee. And then who's a coffee drinker, by the way? Let me know. Are you drinking your coffee with me? This is like my 4th cup so far today. It's the coffee habit is real in this household, especially as Jack keeps getting up at the crack of doom every morning. Laura's like, yep. We're literally moving to like Elyse and Jason have to get up at midnight to be able to have any morning time available for ourselves. So cheers. Letitia's saying yes to coffee. Mary's saying tea. Mary, what kind of tea do you drink? I've always wanted to switch from coffee to tea, and I like the Aveda tea, but I've never really I don't know. I can't break that's a limiting belief. I don't want to break the coffee habit, if I'm being honest. Laura's saying yes to coffee. Lee Lambert on LinkedIn. Lee, all this week I've been like, I need to message Lee. I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad you are here today, my friend. This is going to be amazing. Thank you for being here. All right, so let's have some coffee or tea or whatever you're drinking, and let's get into it. So, okay, here's where we left off yesterday. We talked about not giving too much attention, like when the negative feelings or negative thoughts come up, redirecting, right? They're there for a purpose. They're there to serve you, but but you have control over whether you stay there or not. Okay. And so I'm just seeing comments. Laura, thank you. I'm glad you like the eye makeup. I'm feeling the smoky eye. Mary's variety of green tea, awesome. And Letitia, your goal. I'm going backwards. Sorry, this is confusing. Letitia, your goals are to sign up 10 clients a month for your health coaching business. Love it, love it, love it. Yes. Okay. And her holistic habits. I'm coaching women when it comes to nutrition and mental health. Beautiful. Want to create some courses to help them further. I'm trying to start these. I want to help women heal from the inside out. Beautiful. I love that. I love that. And one of the things I always coach my clients to do is to eliminate the word trying, because that's actually telling your subconscious mind that you're not doing it. So it's like, I'm doing this. I'm starting these courses right now. Okay. So he says the dominant of two feelings is the one expressed. So that's kind of where we left off yesterday, right? Like if you have a negative, if you find yourself in a negative emotion, you don't need to go into panic. You don't need to feel like your whole world's falling apart, but it's noticing that's feedback. That's your body giving you feedback that you were just thinking a thought that's not in alignment with your higher self, right? Because when we think backwards from the goal, when you think backwards from the goal of what you're creating, like knowing that it's already done, how do you feel? You feel accomplished, you feel grateful, you feel excited, right? So when we think thoughts that aren't in alignment with that, our body gives us a negative feeling because it's not actually true. Your higher self's already done the thing you're looking to do. Okay. So we don't need to go into panic though. We just need to notice it and then switch the thought. So he says, I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. So I think this is so important. And this is why affirmations you want to do in the present tense. I am. You want to remember whatever follows the words I am, it is a direct command to your subconscious mind to make that your reality. And just like we've been talking about in this series, good morning, Elizabeth, just like we've been talking about in this series, your subconscious is like the soil. Whatever you think about consistently and you emotionalize, you whether it's positive or negative, your subconscious will accept that as your reality, as truth, and it will go to work looking for situations, opportunities, and people to help you make that your reality. So we want to be really mindful of saying, I am, and then whatever you want your reality to be. So you're going to feel like you're acting. Like last night, for example, my husband and I were talking about a home so we've identified the next home we want to live in. We have no idea how it's going to happen. And that's okay. That is okay. But we were talking about, I was like, babe, he knows now when I say, babe, it's time to manifest. He's like, all right, let's do it. So he comes along for the ride because he knows how it works and he sees how it works and he's excited. But I was like, babe, we're going to talk about living in the house as if it was already done. And what are we doing right now? And how excited are we? Like we're outside, we're playing in the pool, like visioning, Jack playing in the pool, envisioning, my mom being there and us like cooking with her and just like that type of excitement, but it was all present tense. Does that make sense? Like, let me know if do you do this too? Let me know in the comments. Do you do this? Do you talk about what you want in the future in present tense? Or do you find yourself saying it will be like this? One day I will be healthy. I will have the money I want. And it's like, no, I do. I am, right? Let me check comments real quickly. Your excitement for the message you've been empowered to share leaves you breathless. Oh, Lee, I tell you what, I will do this the rest of my life. Like I can't imagine anything more exciting to me. I love sharing this and I love having you here to share it with. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. He says, to feel I will is to confess I am not. I am is stronger than I am not. What you feel you are always dominates what you feel you would like to be. Therefore, to be realized, the wish must be felt as a state that is rather than a state that is not. So this is also something really important when you're focusing on what you're creating. The words matter. The words you use matter a lot. And so if a client came to me and let's say that her goal was to say, I'm no longer in debt, I'd say, no. There's a couple of things wrong with that. First of all, debt is it's a negative, emotionally charged word. And so because your subconscious can't process negatives, all that it's going to pick up on from that is the word debt. And it's going to be like, oh, I'm in debt. So it's going to go to work making that your reality. Does that make sense? So we want to be really positive with the language. We want to be mindful of what we're saying, I am. behind her holistic habits. I love what you said about the subconscious mind being the soil. Yeah, it's a really helpful analogy, right? Like it's exactly how it works. So it helps us kind of understand how it works. Kara is saying, I journaled about all the reasons why I feel lucky to be 44. Feels like a lucky number to me. I'm blessing thousands of women to find their purpose, get themselves back into alignment in their mind, body, and soul after cancer survivorship. I created a few logos yesterday and look forward to feedback. Beautiful. I will look for those, Kara. And that's such a beautiful, think about what an amazing way to spend 44 and beyond, right? So he says, sensation precedes manifestation. I love this. And I've never heard it said that way aside from him, but I love this. Sensation precedes manifestation and is the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. So here's what I would take from that. You can tell what you're bringing into your life by how you feel. Okay. So if you consistently feel positive, grateful, expectant, expansive, you can know that you're creating more things. You are in alignment with more things that are of that level. But if you consistently feel fearful, scared, anxious, well, guess what? You're on that wavelength. So you're in the process of bringing in, you're only a match for things at that level. Does that make sense? Do we have questions on this and how it works? So you want to just be so mindful. And it's not that, look, law of which law? Law of rhythm. Things go like this, right? So it's not that you're always going to be at a high and you never have a dip. You will have dips, but and I love my girlfriend Allison says this, and it's like, this is such a good way to think about it. What was once your ceiling will become your floor. What was once your ceiling will become your new floor. So think about it like that, right? What was like, as you go on your journey, if it's just like this and you're never moving upwards, then that's not how it's meant to be. You are meant to have a continuous increase and expansion. Along the way, you may feel like it's a stair step, and that's okay. Like that's part of the process. Is you'll have challenges along the way. You'll have contrast. I was listening to an Abraham Hicks recording this weekend, and they said, contrast always lives on the edge of your existing reality. Isn't that good? Contrast always lives on the edge of your existing reality. Because I had some contrast this weekend. I had a moment where I cried, and it was, but it was like remembering that, oh yeah, as you're expanding your existing reality, there's going to be some contrast that's setting you up for what's next. So we're going to have those more negative emotions. We're going to have those more negative experiences, but what are you feeling consistently? Where are you at 90% of the time? And that's telling you what's coming in. Okay. Lee is saying 74 is the real lucky number. Yes, it is, my friend. Yeah, Cara, you got some catching up to do with Lee here on LinkedIn. Okay. I love that. He says, be careful of your moods and feelings, for there is an unbroken connection between your feelings and your visible world. Now listen in. Your body is an emotional filter and bears the unmistakable marks of your prevalent emotions. Again, the body is just an instrument of the mind. So if you see someone who looks worn down, tired, ragged, that tells you what's going on in their mind. If you see someone who looks exuberant, like this is at any age, it doesn't matter what the age, but if you see someone who looks exuberant, joyful, glowing, that tells you what's going on in their mind. He says, emotional disturbances, especially suppressed emotions, are the causes of all disease. To feel intensely about a wrong without voicing or expressing that feeling is the beginning of disease. And then he does dis-ease, I'm in parentheses, in both body and environment. Do not entertain the feeling of regret or failure, for frustration or detachment from your objective results in disease. And this is like, I got to tell you, this is big. And this was something that when I started studying the body-mind connection several years ago, it clarified so much for me. And I didn't have like a lot of health issues really growing up, except for I had an eating disorder, which I shared. But in the past few years, I was diagnosed multiple times with skin cancer. And I started really studying this and noticing, like, where does this come from? Because I I didn't do tanning beds. I didn't do anything like that. And Cara, it's interesting to have you here because your whole brand is about women post-cancer and men, right? But so I started studying a lot of Louise Hay, and she healed her body of cancer. And I started studying, like, where does this stem from? And so from Louise Hay, she teaches cancer stems from resentment. And I really had to look at that and say, like, where would that be in my life? I've always been a very like joyful, happy person, like very loving, always considered myself that way. But I said, well, if I did have resentment, what would it be? And I started looking back and noticing so many times in my life where I felt like something happened that was wrong, either to me or to somebody else, but I didn't feel like I had the courage to speak up. And I suppressed and I repressed that. And those emotions, they don't just go away. Like, you think you're suppressing it, but they must be expressed. They will come through either as disease in your body, as violence, right? And so this is why has been part of my own healing journey, is doing a lot of that release, like anger release work. And I also do this with my clients now. For those of you who are my clients and you've done some of the inner child healing work, you know that stuff comes out of you that you didn't know was still in there, right? Has anyone, for those of you who are my clients who are on, like, pop a comment or give a heart. Like, it's real, and you have to let this stuff out. Otherwise it stays in your body and it will manifest as disease. So we got to get it out. And it's not making yourself wrong for that. It's not ever making yourself wrong for it, because those contrasting more negative emotions, those are they're signals for you. Like, anger is your body's way of telling you that something matters to you. But so we got to get it out of the body. And I think about, I was at this mastermind maybe almost 2 months ago with other women in, like, successful female entrepreneurs. And it would have been funny to look at, but we were all doing anger release. We were all doing anger release. And it was I laugh now because I think about what it would have looked like for someone coming in. It was intense. Like, let me just tell you, it was intense. It was a bunch of women in a dark room screaming at the top of their, and I was there, like, I was screaming, I was beating a pillow, I was like letting it out. And it's stuff that comes up from like the recesses of your soul that you did not know was still in there. But when you let it out, like, you feel free, you feel light, and it's not stuck in your body anymore. And so if you haven't done anger release and inner child healing, I thought this stuff was so hokey. It's like, it doesn't matter. The first time my coach said she wanted to do inner child healing with me, I was like, isn't this supposed to be about building $1 million business, girl? Like, why are we doing this? And then I did it and I was like, oh yeah, this is okay. This is powerful. Cara on Facebook is saying, that's exactly what happened to me with cancer healing. Yeah, I needed to find my voice and speak up in my life. Yes. And it's always happening for you, right? I used to, and I'm still learning to, like, love my scar, and I'm still learning. I'm on that journey. I don't feel a huge amount of love for it yet, but I'm working on that. But it's always happening for you. And I know for me, when I started noticing those things that I was suppressing or not speaking up about, or that needed to shift in my life, like, the cancer is what caused that, and that led me on that journey. And so I'm grateful for that, right? It's always working for us. It's always happening for us. Let me see what's happening here on her holistic. Okay, let me go back. Laura, does the contrast help with getting in touch for what you want so you can shift it? Yes, it does. So the contrast, you couldn't know what you want if you didn't know what you don't want. So when you have contrast, you're getting clear on what you don't want. And then you can, it's like, okay, great. Now I know what I want. And then you can go about focusing on that. Her holistic habits. You said, I've asked this before. What book is this? This is the book we're reading right now, is Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. Laura is saying, I love Louise Hay. Her book helped with my inner healing work. Beautiful. Linda, how do you get it out? Well, I think you asked that before I shared that. Inner child healing. There's a lot of anger release. It's, I do it for my clients, so I'm happy to help you with that if you like. But there's also, I'm sure there's like YouTube videos you could do. The most important thing is you got to get it out. You got to get it out of your body. Janine, our cells are always listening. Healing thoughts are everything. I know you know this, my friend, right? This is your life and what you're all about. So yes, our cells are always listening. Um, I love this conversation today. So he says, think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. And this is something I learned from Peggy McCall. And I love this. At the end of the day, as you're about to go to sleep, and part of this book too is about sleep and the power of that and how, like, what happens in sleep. So we'll get there soon. But he says, or excuse me, Peggy says, before you go to bed, ask yourself, now that my dream is realized, how do I feel? Now that my dream is accomplished, how do I feel? And get into that feeling state before your sleep, before you go to bed. And that feeling is, it's always going to be positive. It's grateful, it's expansive, it's joyful, it's loving. It's a very high vibrational feeling. And then you're impressing that in your subconscious all night long so it can work on making that your reality. But you got to do that during the daytime too. You can't just do it at night or on the meditation mat and then get up and like go rage on people all day. That's why we got to get the anger out of our bodies and keep it moving. Okay. So feeling the reality of the state sought and living and acting on that conviction, ooh, this is good, is the way of all seeming miracles. Isn't that good? Feeling the reality of the state sought and living and acting on that conviction is the way of all seeming miracles. And this was so for me, when I have a lot of contrast, I'm like Abraham Hicks, baby, all the way. So I tell you what, Sunday morning, I woke up in some contrast, feeling sad about some things, feeling angry about some things, and Abraham Hicks all day long on my TV. And so they were talking about miracles, and they said, we think miracles are weird. Like, we think miracles are rare. A miracle is just, you finally got out of your own way. Like, a miracle is just, you finally, like, you set it's actually the natural order of things. If we weren't in our own way so much, we would be experiencing what feels like miracles all the time in our life. But usually what happens is you block what you want from coming because you say, I want this. You say, I want a 7-figure business. You say, I want, I don't know, perfect health. And then you think and you feel all day long about how you don't have that. Well, when you do that, you're not in alignment with what you want, my friend. And so it's like, it's there for you. It's there for you, but you're not vibrational match for it. So you block it. And so a miracle happens when we usually finally just give up and get out of our own way. And then it can come. And I shouldn't even say give up, but it's more like either you stay in alignment with it, or somehow you release your resistance to it. And then it happens and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a miracle. No, it's just actually the natural order of things. And you got out of the way enough for it to happen. Are you all with me there? Like, give me a yes, give me a heart if you're with me and if this is making sense. Oh, Janine, you love Abraham Hicks too. Thank you for that. And yes, I'm like all day long, especially in contrast. And I'm like, why do I not listen to this every single day? That's another question. That's something I could probably work on, but it's so good. And he says, all changes of expression are brought about through a change of feeling. A change of feeling. Ooh, I love this. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. All creation occurs in the domain of the subconscious. All of it, your subconscious. What you must acquire then is a reflective control of the operation of the subconscious. That is control of your ideas and feelings. It's so important. And I think this is the missing link. And I've talked about this on these lives, and last week I was giving a training for a group of women in financial services. And I was talking about what I thought was the missing link in so many coaching programs I had been a part of in the past, either on the receiving end or even on the giving end. I was a partner in this mega sales coaching firm for years. And this is no disrespect, because I think it's how most coaching is done. And I think it's really the missing link, is that it's just all about accountability, like high level accountability. What do you want? Okay, take these steps. You say, yes, I'm going to do these steps next week, Elyse. You come back on the call. It's like, well, Elyse, I didn't do it. Blah, blah, blah happened. And all right, well, what are you going to do next time? And what's the not punishment, but like, what's the accountability going to be if you don't do it? All right, I'll do this, or else this will happen. Blah, blah, blah. And then it keeps repeating. Well, and guess what? It's because you've got a subconscious belief that tells you can't have the result you want. So no matter what, you don't see any value in actually doing the work. If you don't believe it's going to happen for you, it's like, why are you going to do it? Why are you going to stretch outside of your comfort zone? So we got to get your belief system on board so that you believe you can actually have what you want. And then when you've got a belief that you can have what you want, everything changes. You start to see yourself as the person who has what you desire. Which means you now take actions in alignment with the person who has what you want. And it will stretch your limits. It will make you massively uncomfortable, because if you were already the person who had what you want, you'd be doing these things naturally. So it's not going to feel natural. That's why the contrast lives on the edge of your existing reality, right? But if we can get your belief system on board to say, I am a happy, healthy multimillionaire. I am in a beautiful relationship. I am the top producer in my office, whatever the thing is that you desire, then you will take actions in alignment with that thing. And you will have that result. It will become your reality. It's only a matter of time. It is literally only a matter of time. Let me see what the comments are. Her holistic habits, love the way you teach about this. Thank you so much. Letitia, you're saying I get in my way a lot. Okay, Letitia, so I got some love for you, some tough love for you this morning, my friend. Stop saying that. And I really appreciate your honesty there, but stop saying it, because remember, you are giving your subconscious a command that you need to get in your own way a lot. So I would shift it. What do you want? What do you want to be your reality? And say that. I'm really good at getting in alignment with my goals. It's really easy for me to get out of my own way, right? Like I love how much I'm growing every day. I love how every day in every way I'm getting better. Whatever it is, like say what you want to be your reality, not what you're currently up against, and it'll shift for you. Let's see here. Linda Tella, good morning. I'm just learning about Abraham Hicks at this moment and healing of my inner child as well. I'm so excited to start believing it's beautiful. And Linda, are you signed up for the challenge next week? Because we're going to be going there with some of this stuff. So get signed up, ElyseArcher.com/challenge, and I'll take you through some things you can do to help with that. But that's going to be really good. And you're learning about it at the perfect time. That's awesome. Kim on YouTube, I'm so glad you're here. Good morning. Christina on LinkedIn, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. It's 8:57. Does anyone have a question? I want to just open it up real quick. Does anyone have a question or a comment or anything before we wrap for this morning? I'm here. You can also DM me if you have a question or a comment. Linda saying, I love how I'm growing for your content. Yay. Oh, I'm so glad, Linda. I love you. And I love seeing you here. You are a face I look forward to seeing on these lives every day. Laura is saying, I've had to be brave and look internal to shift and face any painful emotions. Yes. When I have faced this and released the pain to deeply understand myself. Thanks for your coaching. Oh, it is brave. It is so brave. It's so brave. And I went through quite a period in my life where I didn't want to look inside. I was in so much pain that I would do anything to drown out the noise. And I had a lot of destructive habits during that time that weren't helping. But you kind of just reach a point, right, Laura, where it's you just make a decision. Like it's just a decision at the end of the day. You decide you're no longer available to live in pain like that. And you decide that finally, like there's a great quote, and I don't know who said it, but the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And maybe that's a good way to wrap for today. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Whatever it is that you're scared to do, whatever it is that you're afraid of, you must look it straight in the face and you must go directly into it. And you will find, and there's another great quote, fear knocked on the door, faith answered, and no one was there. And so things only become big and fearful in our mind because we're not willing to look at them, and we give our power away to them. And you are so much bigger and more powerful than anything that you're afraid of, but you got to look it square in the face, whether that's looking at the pain, going into it, initiating that healing work for yourself. Because I tell you what, and my ladies who have gone through this, I know you know this, and I coach the men privately on this too. Like, I know you know this. When you release that, when you let it out, when you look it square in the eye, you realize that it has no hold over you and no power over you. And then it's the freedom that you experience is pretty profound. Linda, do you have a YouTube source for healing my inner child that you would recommend? Linda, that's a great question. I would just YouTube it. I don't. So I have a process I take my clients through, but that's but it's not on YouTube. I would just YouTube it and see what speaks to you. Laura's saying amen. Yeah. Kim is saying to learn more about deep-seated anger, where can I go? Oh, that's a good question, Kim. I honestly, I'm trying to think if there's one resource. Kim, I'll be honest, I have not, my approach, and I'm not saying this is the right approach for you. My approach has been, I do the anger release work when I feel like it's needed, but that's really like you've been through the inner child healing work that we do. So I kind of go back through that, but I don't study deep-seated anger a lot simply because I'm a believer in like, get it out of your body and keep it moving. But I feel like if you wanted to, I would study it for the purposes, like I think let me think about how to say this. If I were you and I was sensing, okay, there's more that needs to be released, I would go back to some of the inner child work that we've done. And there's also a recording now in your virtual training that will walk you through it if you want to have me guide you through it. And then you could, if you wanted to study more about it, that's fine too. I would, whatever you focus on most is going to expand. So I would study it for the purpose of how do I release it more so than like really continuing to like focus on it. Does that make sense? Hopefully that's making sense the way I'm explaining it. Kim saying releasing it. Yeah. Yeah. So I would go back through those inner child exercises and it's a process too. It's a process. Like it's typically not a one and done thing because more things will also come up that will make you angry over the course of your life. And that's okay too. Like that's okay. Again, it's the contrast. It's the contrast that's serving you, but focus on releasing it and getting it out of your body. And that's, in my opinion, that's what's going to be most of service to you. Letitia, oh, you're so welcome. Saying thank you for all this great coaching. I appreciate you taking the time to do these lives. Letitia, it is my absolute pleasure. And I think you're registered for the challenge next week. So I'm excited to see you there too as well. Hopefully it's my pleasure. I love this. This is like my favorite thing is just being here with all of you in the morning. So, all right, friends. So again, if you're a woman in sales or an entrepreneur, get registered for next week's challenge, Skyrocket Your Sales, ElyseArcher.com/challenge. It's going to be phenomenal. I just want to love on you and pour into you and help you with your sales goals and your income goals so you can make, thank you so much for the heart. So you can make second half of this year just absolutely blow your mind, dazzle you, and keep having those results beyond and beyond. And if you know other women in sales, sales leaders as well, invite them in, bring an accountability buddy in. I want to see you there and bring your friends. It's going to be amazing. Gail, you're so welcome. I love seeing you on the lives as well. All right, friends, have a beautiful day and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Lots of love. Bye for now.